started off me and Nate looking at our books going, man, what do we need to do next? And so we got drunk and shot some pool and decided to hike the Appalachian Trail. And leave it to us. That's what we took with any major decision. And I'd already been planning it. I was supposed to leave solo April of next year. And Nate has been giving me stuff to help on my hike through it. And we were sitting there while we were drinking, and he says, can I come? And I looked at him, and I was like, brother, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about. And he asked if he can come on to the AT with me. And I was like, you want to hike 2,000 miles? And he was like, well, I don't think hike's the right word when you don't have any legs, but I want to try it. So I said, okay. And away we went. The biggest challenge is if you can imagine somebody having a stroke, that is kind of what my injuries entail. A lot more detail because they also affect my organs, my kidneys, my lungs, and my heart. And I am 80% paralyzed on the right side of my body, including blinded one eye and legally deaf. And I tore all my nerves out of my spine. So I'll be carrying all our gear for those people, and right now it's 64.3 pounds. When I got hurt the last time, 16 tons of vehicle ran over my head. And it crushed my frontal lobe of my brain, so I don't have any logic, I don't have any fear, and I don't have the ability to see or hear or smell or taste or speak. Totally like normal people before. We've sat down and we've custom made him some shoes, we custom made him some shorts, we custom made him some socks and shoelaces. We took grout layers, the things that you lay grout down on your floor with.
Yeah.
And we ripped them down so they won't peel up. And then we put a pair of mountain biking gloves on him with a heel cup that you put in your work boots. And then we put wrist supports up for his shoelaces so it keeps his wrist straight so it won't bother him. It lifts him that mandatory 2 inches off the ground so he can get more of a swing and less of a push, using less muscle groups, and he's up to 12 miles without even being tired.
Wow.
So we always say handicap is a necessity of all invention.
Oh, man, that is amazing.
Nate has to be in a chest harness. He cannot be, it's a climbing harness, but it's chest. It still clips on like a normal climbing harness. It still fits through his crotch, but the weight doesn't hold the legs like a normal one does because he doesn't have any legs. So we can't, we're going with like a harness. If he flips backwards, he's just going to slide right out of it. There are 8 livers in New Hampshire. They're called the New Hampshire's 8. And 3 of them go up to my nipples. And with us being there in June and July, we're getting all the snow runoff. So we're going to have surface currents like it's cool. So Nate's ability to swim across it is going to be seriously compromised. So I'll have to wade through using my legs when we get to the other side, tie a rope off, and allow him for hand over hand to come across. So we have to have rope for that. The longest one is 47 feet, I think, across. And that's why we were asking for 250, because we could tie them together if we needed it that long. But that way we can spread load it because Nate can handle the weight of a 50-foot rope. And that takes a little bit of the weight off of me. But we also have a lot of bouldering we're going to have to do. Mount Katahdin is 5,529 feet straight up. It's climbing in 7 miles. The last 3 miles are out in the open. You have no nature around you whatsoever. It is 3 miles of hand-over-hand climbing, which Nate can't do because he can get the hand-over-hand, but he doesn't have the ability to swing a leg that's not there up and open. So we'll have to have him harnessed, and I'll have to help pull him up. We have to make 10 miles a day, 50 miles a week, or we will not make, or 50 miles rest stop, or we will not make our deadline. We talked about, we're trying to decide what's best, military polypro versus adventure racing smart wool.
Yeah.
Because we can only afford this space to bring one in our ruts.
We have access to so many different types of thermal underwear that made out of any kind of material that you need, that feel free to reach out to Chad there. We would like to supply that to you.
Well, rock on. You know, our biggest concern with our decision process is we get into Maine, we get going and everything like that. We hit the 100 miles of wilderness. We come out of the 100 miles of wilderness, we flip in the New Hampshire border, and we hit the White Mountains. Well, by the time we get to the base of the White Mountains, the average temperature is 86 degrees, and it's good to go. By the time you get on White Mountain, 18 miles later, you're expected 200-mile-an-hour winds. The temperature at night is 19 degrees above zero, and that's in the summertime. It gets 10.4 inches of rainfall a month, and it is 16 miles of barren ground, of the rockiest terrain you're going to face in the entire trail.
Wow.
And so once we get off of that, we drop down to 62-degree temperatures for the next, 120 miles because of the location. So it's like if you bring the stick and keep you on when you're on White Mountain, it's going to be too hot to have you when you get down into a little bit lower country, but you don't want to carry the weight of both of them.
Yeah.
So we're trying to find some sort of material that is maybe out there that could combine the both. I have to plug my body in every 6 days to stay alive. Clearly, I have a machine that controls my heart and my lungs. And last January, it started going out. I had 2 heart attacks with the respiratory distress. My kidneys gave out in 3 weeks. Gosh, it was a rough. And the funny thing was, 3.5 months later, I was racing a bicycle. So we have to, our plan is I have a couple extra battery packs just in case I need them. And that way I can actually last 3 weeks without finding an outlet. But if something should go wrong and they don't get wet and they don't work anymore and I start having issues, well, we need to get the helicopter to me right now. But what can we do for you guys since you guys are so willing to help us out?
I think for us, it's just and from my perception, it's just a matter of, if we can supply you guys with some of this gear, what you guys can do for us is just take the time or plan out a little bit along your journey to maybe, just capture the whole experience so that we can put it on our website and upload the updates and the footage to YouTube. And there's a lot of potential here to, I think, do a lot of good with this and help inspire a lot of people.
Danny?
Yes.
So there's an ideal outcome from this whole experience. And I think it would be good to understand what that is from the outset. We realize that, the ideal might not always happen because of different circumstances, health issues that happen while you're out there, or emergencies or accidents. But then there's also the magical thing that can happen with so much time and so much work at this. What's the ideal outcome for you guys? You mentioned from the beginning if you can inspire one person. Can you talk about that just a little?
Well, Nate and I are 2 different types of veterans. I have been combat injured, but my injuries this time did not retain combat. It came from a training mission gone wrong. And Nate's issues were combat. And my life was seriously messed up due to my injuries, and I have attempted suicide. And Nate, 4 months after he got out of got better from his injury, got hurt, bicycle, started to learn how to ride a bicycle with his arms. He recovered different than I did. Yeah. So it's been kind of cool with the way we've managed to do things. Like I'm affiliated mainly with the American Legion, and I receive support from them, and he is a member of the BSW. So we're able to affect 2 different types of things. And, we met as cyclists for Right Recovery. We met 4 years ago. And mindset and our lives together as shifts. We've learned that by doing stupid shit that nobody else has the balls to do, we inspire a whole lot of people.
Yeah.
I mean, we learned last summer I was riding an upright for the very first time, and I crashed going less than 1 mile an hour. I broke 5 bones in my body and 4 muscles. And 2.5 months later, we get this great idea in our heads. Well, I get an idea to say, hey, let's go do a triathlon in November. And Nate thought that sounded like such a good idea. He signed us up for one 5 weeks later. Now, he hadn't swam in 3 years. The first time I was on an upright, I crashed. I didn't know how to swim with one arm or one leg, and neither one of us knew how to run. And in 5 weeks, we went out and did Olympic distance at Pacific Grove. And he took first, and I took second.
Wow.
And nobody thought we could do it. And, you know, the amount of accomplishments, the things that we just thought sounded like a good time. And so we busted our butts doing it and getting ready for it and everything like that. And the amount of people that have come out and said, you inspire me. Or the places you go and the people you meet. So, you know, and then they hear our stories and they tell their troops. And, you know, people come up and they're like, man, I've heard of you. And, you know, you've helped me through such and such thing.
Yeah. Well, you know, Danny, that's the passion we want to tap into here. And that's the kind of stuff that people will be like, wow, these guys are incredible. If they can do this, I can do it. You know, I mean, the two of you have everything stacked against you, and that's what's so amazing is that you take on these challenges that people in great health don't dare do. And so we really want to support you and help to get the word out there and get a following on a weekly basis, like Carl was saying, so that it becomes that real of an experience. At the end, if we can do a documentary or something that encaptures this in a longer movie format, that'll be great too. But even if it's just those weekly touch bases, I think that you'll inspire a lot of people every week. And we want to help you reach those people each week and to touch them. And at the same time, help you to raise funds for the Ride to Recovery that will help those people receive financial support to do it. So we want you to know that we're tied into your mission as part of this, and that in the end, you know, we think it will have some ways to help out our sports, but it will also just inspire a lot of people.